Next category that we talked about was getting sticky. Right? How do we make that transition from one-off projects in the break-fix world into subscriptions and MSP and beyond as we look to the next phase in the cloud? And James, the second question would be to you, which is as you saw your business move through kind of each of these phases, what role has getting to stickier revenue played within the success of your business?
Yeah, so very good question. I think standardization is the first step. Standardization in that process, you have efficiency that you build, you have salespeople that understand the solution sets, and then now you create some level of scale. I think the next phase in that we always talk about, and as Zach exited the business, we talked about what's a private equity, what's my valuation, what's my company worth. One of the key crescendo items that you have to look at is retention. Why would my customer stay with CalNet? Why would my customer stay with my MSP? We traditionally been honored to have between 4 to 6% churn rate, and we're still upset about that. And if you look at the industry average, it's between 8, 10, as high as 12%, depending upon the years that you're looking at. So not only do you have to standardize, but you also have to transform and also give value back to those client bases. So for us, the stickiness, everyone talks about intellectual property. Everyone talks about what is it that keeps that client with us. Look at Azure today. Look at AWS today. They go in, and boy, you have a hard time getting out. But what's that value? Sometime down the road, if there's no value, it's just going to be that level of, you're just my hosting provider in the public cloud. When we looked at Neverfail or standardizing to some platform set, we standardized. Then we said, let's bundle. What are those bundles? What are those workflow items? What are those valuation items that now the client goes, that's awesome. And it's still the same solution set. So let me give you a case in point. I don't know how many of you actually host QuickBooks or application hosting or other elements that are out there. We do that too. But what's a little bit unique about us is we'll take that QuickBooks application hosting and we'll layer in like a business workflow. So a traditional business workflow might be, very simply put, accounts payable. How do I take a bill, scan it in, it gets saved in my private cloud through Brian, right? It's there, it's great, but it's no different than any other cloud hosting platform that's out there. However, that little intellectual property of workflow, scan that accounts payable, take the OCR and say, here's the total amount. If it's above $1,000, route it to the business owner. If it's below $1,000, route it by a frontline manager. Once it's completed and approved, route it back and archive and set a stage for when it gets retired, when it gets deleted, when it gets filed to the tax attorney, so on and so forth. Very simple, and last but not least, you aggregate all that data and say, here's the GL coding that's associated with each of those bills. And I'm going to represent it or hand it off and export it into QuickBooks. I've done the exact same thing as QuickBooks hosting, but with a little different workflow. How's that client going to leave me? Rebuild that workflow. Great, that's my intellectual property. It's very simple. And you can place it anywhere you go, but the cost of leaving or the cost of churn and the cost of change for that client, very tough. Now you've got to also add the services, et cetera, on top of that. So the bundling aspect and the actual transformation aspect, in fact, the challenge that I've made to now Neverfail, Brian and Eric is, how do we bundle? How do we transform? How do we lead? How do we make it very sticky? And that sticky is, how do we give value back to the client so that it's really hard for them to leave?
Great. Thank you, James. Very, very good points.